What's going on, folks? Everyone, thank you for downloading and listening to yet a new episode. It's been a little while of the Retro Gamers. Larry here.
And Anthony here.
What's happening, Ant?
Oh, I don't know.
I got
I feel like
we had the same question
and
answer. Yeah, no, we haven't. We had a week off. Just life got in the way. Things got busy. It happens.
You can just tell everybody that you wanted to go trick or treating. It's okay.
But that would have been on the Tuesday.
Well, yeah, but as adults, you can go trick or treating the whole weekend prior. I'm sure that's what you might have done.
My parents did set up a trick or treating table at their house. One side of it was candy for the kids, and the other side was alcoholic beverages for the adults, going with the kids.
That's a very wise move.
And I think they ran out of booze before they ran out of candy.
For themselves or for the trick or treating parents?
Probably for the parents, for the trick or treating parents.
I don't know if I put it past your parents. They may have downed it all.
What? No, I saw a fireball on the table. My dad was not touching that.
Oh.
And what's good about living in a basement apartment with the door in the back of the house? No trick-or-treaters.
Well, I got the same issue here because I live in a guest house that's down the alley. So if you wanted to come trick-or-treating at my house, you'd have to walk down a dark alley where there's no light. And not only that, but know that there's a house here that exists. So it's safe to say that I don't get trick-or-treaters. I bought candy, I think, the first year I lived here, and then realized, oh, this is for me. So I stopped buying candy after that.
Well, now's the best time to buy candy. 50% off. Go for it.
Yes. Well, if you eat candy, go for it. I don't eat candy anymore.
Yeah, I never really had a sweet tooth, as contrary to popular belief here. So.
No, yeah. See, I'm the one with the sweet tooth of the two of us. I cannot stop eating cake.
And you will have it too.
I did. I've actually had 8 of them. I think
nice.
Since my birthday.
Oh, that's right. Yes. Happy belated birthday. So
yeah. Well, belated at this point.
Yeah, you've been busy with your birthday train. So
I'm having. I'm getting to the point now where I just need to choose a location, have birthday central. Because all these one-off dinners, which are complete with cake. Not that I'm not very. I appreciate all of my friends who do celebrate my birthday with me, but I think I gained 10 pounds this week.
There you go.
Just on cake.
Well, usually it's good cake out there in L.A., so I will say that.
Yeah, that's the funny thing is that it always comes from all my favorite spots too. So it's just
You still go to that one? You still go to that one joint that you bring me
Aroma?
to?
Yeah, no, I was there Friday.
Fantastic.
I was there Friday. I was there the Friday before that, and then the Saturday of my birthday, my friends bought me a cake from Aroma.
Oh,
for
nice.
my birthday cake. So yeah, needless to say, it was I'm fat.
Now you're just indulging. You're allowed to indulge on your birthday.
Well, yeah, and I agree with that. Indulge on your birthday. Don't indulge on the birthday week. And when I say the week, I mean the week prior and the week after.
Oh, man. So, well, that's good. And hopefully you had a good time, got some good presents, celebrated Halloween.
And you know what? Only one video game.
Oh, really? Which one?
Mario Odyssey.
There you go. And you know what? That's the right one to pick.
So I've heard.
Yes.
I've yet to play it.
Oh, you have to play it. What is wrong with you?
Well,
bring the Switch with you.
No, totally understandable. My problem is it was Halloween, and I got swept up in Friday the 13th, the new one.
The game? Oh, the game. Okay.
Yes, the game. So I've been playing that, and also the other reason why is because I know once I start Mario Odyssey, I'm going to be playing it for 4 or 5 months.
Yeah, pretty much.
Pretty much what I did with Zelda until I beat Breath of the Wild.
Yeah.
So when I just finished Breath of the Wild earlier this month. Then I picked up South Park Stick of Truth.
Yeah.
For a 360.
Mm-hmm.
And I plowed through that in 2 weeks. Like I just,
Oh wow.
I was just so focused on that game, and it wasn't that long. It was like 11 or 12 hours total.
Mm-hmm.
So got through that in 2 weeks, and then I'm like, okay, now we're gearing up, and I know Odyssey's coming out, and I'm like, I don't want to invest time. Like I don't want to invest another like few months into one game. So I'm like, let me back off a little bit. I just want to play something a little more mindless. So I've been playing Friday the 13th for the past week. And I just have so much fun with that game.
Good.
It's just awesome.
Good.
It's just awesome. I love being a counselor. I mean, you die a lot of cool ways. And then when you win, it's even better. But I'm on like level 19 now.
Oh wow! Holy cow!
Yeah. So,
I guess
well, you got to catch up, Larry. You got to play.
I'm too busy playing Super Mario Odyssey.
Well, let's hear it. What's the story?
You're exactly right. It can be time-consuming only because you just get enthralled into it. It's not really like in Zelda, where a lot of the time-consuming is mission-based. In this one, it's first of all, I'm going to say this clearly: it is the best Super Mario Brothers game since Super Mario 64.
Really?
Because yes, I'm going to say that right now, because no game has felt this feels like Super Mario 64. Sunshine didn't do that. Super Mario Galaxies, neither one of them did that. This one feels like the N64 game. And that, I'm going to go on record saying that. And right now, it is one of my favorite games. I've been playing it just ridiculously. And you get caught up. You just get, like I said, it's not really missions. You just get caught up and keep playing. And basically, the way it plays, if you want to compare it to Super Mario 64, in Super Mario 64, you have to collect stars. In this one, you have to collect moons. And each board has multiple moons. I don't know if there's a set number, like each one has 20 or 30 or 40 moons, or if they vary. I haven't figured that part out yet. But the moons are hidden, unlike Super Mario 64, where there really was like several missions in each painting. In this one, like you can find moons just out of nowhere, and boom, you got a moon. All right, just keep moving, keep going. Like it doesn't stop the level. Adorable. Anthony just showed his cat. Which one was that? Was that Snowbell?
Yeah, it was Snowbell. Or Snow.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, Snowbell's weird. If you named it Snowball, that would roll off the tongue better.
Well, I didn't name her.
Oh, I'm sorry. And
I adopted her, and that was her name.
That is true. So, meanwhile, my mother's cat bit me really hard today. That was fun.
Awesome.
So you can play the game and you can find like these moons, but it won't stop you in your tracks. Like you won't have to then start the mission over again. You just keep going. I read somewhere, I don't know if this is true, because I've been trying to not really read anything on the game just for spoilers. I'm trying to avoid them. But I think there may be like 999 moons in this game.
Really?
Because you literally can find... First of all, I'll tell you right off the bat, and it's no secret or anything. Each level, each city, each world... City, I guess... has a shop. Actually has two shops. One shop that takes regular coins. One shop that takes coins specific for that level. And right then and there, you buy a moon for 100 coins. 100 regular coins.
Ah, I gotcha.
So, like, that's how easy you can find a moon.
Now I want to know.
Oh, it's
Super
crazy.
Mario Odyssey moons.
I'm already up to like level. I think I'm like 1 or 2 levels past New Donk City, which was about 4 or 5 levels into the game, even maybe a little more than that. Because what happens is basically the idea is the Odyssey, that's the ship that you're on, goes to the next city, and then you have to power it. You have to get X number of moons. It varies per level. X number of moons to power up the Odyssey, and then you can move on. Of course, you can always go back to collect more moons, but sometimes you get kind of stuck. Like New Donk City, which was the New York City scene, if you will. That one, I think I found all the moons. I think there was 30 moons on that level. But I was just so caught up in the level, in the board, in the gameplay, because it's also, depending on what board you're on, it may be not necessarily mission-based with a lot of enemies. It may be more like, I'll call them puzzles. Remember in Super Mario 64 on the ice level, like you'd get a star by sliding down that ice slide?
Yes.
Or returning the baby penguin, which after kicked it off the level a few times.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Like that's kind of like what New Donk City is. There's a lot of like puzzles to it, or races, if you will. A couple missions, but not heavily influenced like the other levels are. New Donk City is definitely my favorite.
Do you want to know how many power moons there are?
Might as well, because I need to know so I know where I'm at.
Correct, 999.
All right, I thought I read that correct. All right, cool. I am very far away from collecting all of them.
How many do you have right now?
Oh, good question. 100 and I want to say 171.
Okay, you're moving along.
Oh, I'm definitely trucking. Like I said, you just kind of find them out of nowhere. Sometimes you'll just blow up a block. Oh, hey, there's a moon. Go get it. And the boss fights are just seamless. They're very traditional Mario. Again, no secret, 3 hits, and it's good to go. But you got to learn the pattern of the villains.
Okay.
The incorporation of the whole like I forgot what they call it, but like when you throw the hat on something and you become that character,
right?
Whatever you want to call that.
I don't know what they call that.
Like we've seen
possession.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. We've seen it with the Goombas. We've seen him possess the Goombas. We've seen him possess one of the taxis. We've seen him possess the T-Rex.
Yes, I remember seeing that in the preview, and that was awesome.
Oh my god, it's the. I mean, I won't tell you which level it was on, but I got to the T-Rex, and it was just so much fun, and it moved so fluidly. The graphics in this game are gorgeous. If you ever need to, like, you know how there's always a debate whether or not like video games are art?
Yes.
This game, you can just take a picture, and I mean, you can frame it and put it on your wall, because some of these images are just breathtaking, the way it looks.
I was going to say, that's kind of how I felt about Breath of the Wild.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you play Breath of the Wild, when you play Breath of the Wild, there are so many picturesque moments in the game.
And you can take the pictures.
Can capture. Yeah, I was just going to say that you can capture, and it's absolutely stunning.
In fact, with the new Switch update, you can actually take 30 seconds of video now.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, for certain games, not all of them. But certain games. Yeah.
Well, the other thing about Odyssey, Edge, the Edge magazine.
Okay, yeah.
Or online, that reviews video games. They gave Odyssey a 10 out of 10.
Nice.
So perfect. Same thing IGN. IGN gave it 10 out of 10. But the thing about Edge is Edge has been around for 25 plus years now.
Mm-hmm.
And they've only given out roughly, I think, somewhere between 20 and 25.
All right, one a year.
10 out of 10, right, about one a year, 10 out of 10s
mm-hmm.
On average. And so, it just shows you how much they value that perfect score.
You know what?
Video games?
No, and I just pulled up the scores. Let's run through this real quick. Some of the stuff that Odyssey's getting. You're right. Edge 10 out of 10. EGM 10 out of 10. Famitsu 39 out of 40. Game Informer 9 3/4 out of 10. What did they lose a quarter for? GameSpot's 10 out of 10. Holy cow.
IGN is 10 out of 10.
Yep. Nintendo Life I think is 10 stars. I can't count that many that quickly. Videogamer.com 10 out of 10, and pretty much won almost every category of video games that there is in 2017 so far.
Yep. Well, what I was saying about the Edge is that Odyssey got a 10 out of 10 with them, but they've only given out 20 to 25 10 perfect scores,
mm-hmm.
and 2 of them were from this year.
Oh,
and
okay.
Both of them were on the Switch, because they also gave Breath of the Wild 10 out of 10.
I'm telling you, this Switch. I've already told people, if you get this Switch for only Zelda, Breath of the Wild, and only Super Mario Odyssey, your money is well spent on the Switch.
Yep, and and more importantly now, the Switch is more readily available. Like I was just at Target yesterday, and I saw the Switch Odyssey bundle.
Yes, yep, I saw that too.
Sitting right on the shelf.
Yep.
So, now they're definitely more readily available for people to go out there and grab them.
And I do like that version because I like the 2 red controllers.
Oh, yeah. I never understood the appeal of that red-blue controller combo. Like, I guess I'm more old school with just the gray and black. But
you know what?
People love that red and blue.
It pops and also kind of makes it easier to decipher player 1 versus player 2 real quick. I think Snow will agree with me.
Well, no, Snow agrees with you. She likes to walk on my computer while I'm here because it's like I'm not giving her attention, but then when I put her on my lap, she doesn't want to sit there. So I'm like, okay, which is it?
Whatever.
Make up your mind. She just wants to be noticed.
And on a side note, I did get actually I bought 2 more controllers because I'm planning on hopefully.
There goes $80.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, I started getting the left Joy-Con issue.
Oh yes,
so
the one that I had.
Yes, but I'm too impatient to send it away and lose it for a week, so I just went out and bought a new Joy-Con.
Dude, it's only a week.
Yeah, I know, but still. But I got the two controllers, like the that pink and blue, whatever it is. The neon yellow controllers look really sweet, also.
Really?
Those look pretty cool. I wish I got those. But yeah, going back to Odyssey, it's just I have yet to find an issue, or even just for the sake of critiquing, I just haven't found anything yet. Sometimes it takes, and there have been levels where I've had to play it like 10 or 15 times because you just keep missing that one jump, or just you're timing something wrong. There's no lives in this game. What happens is if you lose a life, if you will, you lose coins. So I'm assuming if you go down to 0 coins, game's over.
Right.
But it's so easy to get coins in the game.
Now, I was just gonna say, do you collect like thousands and thousands of coins now?
You can, yeah. But you collect the coins, but then you can spend the coins. So if you do buy
you can buy stuff.
Yeah, because the other big thing about this game, and I've yet to really see if it impacts anything on a level. I got to double check. Well, it does in certain situations. You can buy costumes, different hats, and different costumes. Like we've seen him in the the top hat and tuxedo. We've seen him in his Bermuda shorts. We've seen him in a I think it was a astronaut outfit. So you can buy those as well in the game. Not only that, if you have Amiibo, if you have any Amiibo, those will work as well. And some of them will also give you some of the same costumes that you can buy.
Oh, that's cool.
And, of course, each costume kind of goes with the level. Like, for example, there's a beach level, and that one has not the Bermuda shorts one. That you can buy right off the bat, but that's the most expensive outfit so far. But, like, you can buy kind of like a resort. Like, you'll be in sandals, have, like, a Hawaiian shirt on, shorts, and you get, like, one of those, like, sun hats. To get 1 or 2 moons in a level, sometimes you do have to dress up, like in the costume specific for the level, so it unlocks a part, so you can try and get more moons. So the costumes have something to do with it.
Okay. Well, everything. I mean, Nintendo's always very meticulous when it comes to what they put in a game. So, everything has a purpose. Which
I'm trying to figure out too, because like, for example, and I got to go back and check it out because by the time I got the costume, I moved on to the next level. On the ice level, if you're in the water too long, you're going to freeze. And
cool.
if you
do
stand,
you become Captain America?
Maybe, because he does have a USA outfit. Even if you're just standing there, Mario starts to shiver, and you see like ice forming on him. Oh, so wow, I don't know if you stand in place for too long if you're going to freeze, but if you get a costume, it kind of looks like Ice Climber, like those kind of bundled up. I got to figure out if that gives you like more time in the water, or if that kind of gives you a little bit of invincibility to the ice. I haven't figured that part out yet.
Okay.
The other part with it, and I don't think this is giving anything away. Stop me if you think it will. But every once in a while on the levels, you do warp into a pipe, and you turn into 8-bit Mario.
Oh, yes, I heard about the 8-bit Mario.
So,
and I'm very excited to experience it. I might have to play this today.
And that part is so cool because not only do you turn into 8-bit Mario, if you have the costume, a specific costume, that costume becomes 8-bit as well. And even the music and the sound turns 8-bit.
Oh, all right. Yeah, that's awesome.
And usually when you go into an 8-bit part, you're going to end up finding a moon. Mm-hmm. And even the moon's 8-bit, and like what's normally the pop and circumstance, that's 8-bit. I mean, it is so funny how they kept that.
Here's a question. Where's Luigi?
I've been thinking that. I don't know yet. I'm assuming.
Did they dismiss him again?
They may have. Because I don't think he's in anywhere in Super Mario 64, right?
No,
Yeah.
actually, I don't believe he ever made an
So,
appearance.
so unless you grab all 999 moons, it's the only thing I'm assuming maybe he'll be there. I don't know yet. I'll find out when I get there.
No, it sounds like Luigi's going the way of Stanley.
What? I hope not. But Pauline makes her return.
Oh yes, I heard about that.
She's
So
she's the mayor of New Donk City.
well, look at her turning around her life. Weren't we talking about her shacking up with Stanley in a trailer park somewhere?
Yeah. Meanwhile, she's living life big time, and she's also the one who sings the theme song for Super Mario Odyssey.
Well, isn't that lovely?
Did you not download the theme song? I got it off iTunes.
No, I did not download the theme song.
It's called Jump Up Superstar. It's very catchy. It kind of has like a 50s.
Stop.
But what's cool is in the jacket of the game of the box, it has the lyrics to the song. So that's kind of cool.
Oh man. Well, yeah. I got nothing for this except good for Pauline.
But yeah, no. And all I'm gonna say is so far my favorite level has been New Donk City. That one is amazing.
And that's the first one, right?
No.
Oh, it's not. Okay.
Nope. It's like, I'll tell you, it's like, I don't know, like 5 or 6 levels in.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, it's deep.
No, I'm definitely looking forward to playing it. Like I said, I didn't pick it up yet because I'm afraid of getting lost in it, like I tend to do.
And you will. Trust me, you will.
Well, no, and that's the problem. It's like, because then all I'll think about doing is playing the game, and unfortunately, I have a life outside of my home.
Oh, I hear you on that one. What I did was, I was at Chiller Theater last week. I went to Chiller Theater in Parsippany, New Jersey. Myself and actually the co-host of the Yin and the Yang, Anthony Chu, we were there on Sunday. But because he works on Saturday and I went to the show also on Saturday, by the time Chu would have gotten out of work, I would have been bored. So long story short, I got a hotel out in Parsippany. I crashed for the evening, and I brought the Odyssey. I wish I brought the Odyssey with me. That's a whole other game system.
I was just gonna say, wait, you found an Odyssey?
I brought the Switch with me, and this game was really the first game I ever really played on the road.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And
the Switch is fantastic for handheld. It really is. Like,
absolutely.
Take it from somebody who's brought it to Japan and back several times.
And that's the other part I want to talk about with Odyssey. Depending on the control scheme you use, there's a little bit of different gameplay with it, and some control use is better than others. Like, for example, when I'm home playing on TV, I'll use the Pro Controller. I just find it more comfortable.
Me too.
And it works, and it has all the gyro and stuff like that. They really recommend that you play with the 2 Joy-Cons separated, just one in each hand.
Yep.
Because depending on what you do, whether you throw in your hat or when you're moving, you use expressions. Like, you move the controllers, and it'll do different things. And because the way the Joy-Cons are separated when they're in each hand, you can do more with those than with just the Pro Controller or just when it's plugged into the Switch itself and you're playing it on handheld.
Got it. Well, see, and that's the type of thing where I'm like, that was one of my point of contentions with the Wii, because I didn't buy the Wii originally because I didn't like the whole motion control idea. It still holds true with the Switch. Like, I take my Joy-Cons and I put them in the controller dock that they give you.
No, yeah, no. If I did, I would use those as well, like that. And like, the moves aren't as elaborate as the Wii was. It's really just kind of a shaking motion, or maybe like a flip, like a flip motion. And even in the Joy-Con controller dock, like you're talking about, you can still use them like with the flip. Like, for example, when you're climbing up a tree or a pole or something, all I see is a tail.
My cat wants to be part of the show.
No, all I envisioned was like the Happiness Hotel and the Great Muppet Caper, when all you see is just tails from like Rizzo and all them.
That's basically what's going on here.
Where was I going? Oh yeah. So like when you're climbing up a tree or something, like if you shake the controller, you'll climb faster. So those are the type of motion controls. If you flick it around somewhere, you spin your cap in a circle to take out enemies.
That's cool.
And also, some of the level, the way the level plays, and where some of the moons are like there's some levels that have like an island way off the main land, if you will, of the level, and you're like, how do I even get out there? There's no warp pipe. There's nothing. So some of it makes you think between having to, possess maybe a different character. And you throw your hat at everything because you never know what you're going to be able to possess.
Oh, that's cool.
Like in the beginning, I'll tell you right, like in one of the first ones is a frog. and it just takes
because who doesn't want to be a frog?
No, exactly. And like it just has a super leap ability. The other thing I'll leave off with, because I don't want to give too much away as far as the story, because the story is very fun as well. With the amiibo, this is a game, honestly. I mean, I'm not saying buy all of them, but maybe buy, I don't know if they sell them in a 3-pack, but if anything, maybe buy the special Super Mario Odyssey amiibo, because you can load up an amiibo in the middle of the game, and depending on what the amiibo is, either you'll get coins, you'll get heart, to power to restore your energy, or you may even get invincibility just by scanning it.
Now, do you buy amiibos?
Oh my god, you've never seen my amiibo collection?
No.
I used to have them displayed there. Oh, I got a ton of them.
Okay, yeah. See, I never went that far.
Because with a lot of the games on the Wii U, when you use the amiibo, they unlock stuff. Like even on Breath of the Wild, now on the Switch, like you'll unlock, you get like hidden chests, you get, some certain items actually you can unlock. And like in this game, like I mentioned, you can get some stuff while playing the game. But when you complete a level, or if after you complete the main, like you defeat the main boss of the level, then what happens is like a little, like an amiibo robot or something back by the Odyssey, and what you do is you can scan an amiibo, and then that amiibo will go out into the level and search for moons for you, and come back and tell you where it is. But like not right away. It'll even tell you, come back in 5 minutes, and I'll tell you. And you can scan up to 3 of them, so you have 3 amiibo, if you will, out looking for moons, but that's also where, when you scan an amiibo, you can unlock a costume. And with the 3 wedding amiibo characters for Odyssey, if you scan Mario, you'll get the white top hat. Actually, give me 2 seconds.
Okay.
How do I put okay? So, even the Zelda ones, it'll recognize, like, oh, you scanned a Zelda Guardian amiibo. So, I'm going to show Ant here, and we'll put pictures up on the page as well. So, like Mario.
Oh, cool.
In a white top hat and white tuxedo. So, you unlock that costume. Giant Bowser amiibo.
Nice.
And with this, you unlock his, like, you get the shell on him. And then the
Very
one
cool.
you get with Princess Toadstool, Princess Peach, and yes, you unlock the wedding gown.
Oh, so is there a wedding forthcoming?
Well, I mean, the story goes that Bowser kidnapped Princess Peach, or Toadstool,
that's
I don't
right.
know which one she's called.
That's right, at the wedding, right?
No,
Before the
Bowser's trying to marry her.
Oh, yeah, that's it.
Yeah,
okay.
her and Mario weren't getting hitched.
Yeah, her and Mario should get hitched by now. It's been 30-something years.
We'll see what happens at the end of the game. I don't know.
I know. It's like put up or shut up, Mario. At this point. It's like all the plumbing that you do. You telling me you didn't find anybody's engagement ring?
What? Remember, he's not just a plumber anymore.
No, I know. He's something else that they won't say. He was a plumber. He was a carpenter. He was a boxing referee. I mean, he's been so many things.
He's a jack of all trades.
Basically, he's done every job. What he has not been, that his brother has been, though, is a ghost hunter.
That is true. He's not been a ghostbuster.
Nope.
So Odyssey, I recommend go get it. It's worth it. And even honestly, I tell you, pick up at least, if anything, pick up the wedding amiibo. I think you can buy them in a 3-pack. I bought them individually on Amazon, and they're not expensive. I got the 3 of them for like $38.
Yeah, but I don't have the amiibo scanner.
Yes, you do, because every controller for the Switch has the thing in it.
Oh, it's in there?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, then I guess I do have one.
Yep. Well, even on the Wii U, it was on the gamepad.
Well, nobody ever told me that.
It's because we don't hang out.
Well, it's hard to hang out when you're 3,000 miles away.
I agree.
Yeah.
So, Odyssey. And I know at this point people are going, wait a minute, why are you talking about Super Mario Odyssey on the Switch? We're gamers. That's what we are. And every once in a while you'll probably hear us talk a little newness.
I think talking modern gaming is just as important as us covering our retro games, even if we're only doing it once in a while, because eventually all these modern games will be retro.
Sooner rather than later, unfortunately.
10 years from now, when we're old and decrepit and probably still doing this, we'll be talking about the, Mario Odyssey as a retro game.
When it's re-released on the Nintendo, whatever it is.
When it's re-released on, the Nintendo, quadrillion.
Whatever the virtual console will be at that point.
Exactly.
All right. So yeah, and definitely once you start playing it, let me know, because I'm dying to know what you think about it. Even just the beginning, just the way it looks.
Well, maybe next week I'll have a few words to share.
Sweet.
Or I'm just going to keep playing Friday the 13th.
Either way, it's a win-win.
Definitely a win-win, especially when you see cool murders.
Oh, poor Nintendo. All right. And with that is my review and take Super Mario Odyssey. Go out, get it, check it out.
All right, Larry. So it's November, so we're putting spooky retro games aside and going back to wacky retro games.
Oh, thank goodness. I was tired of getting scared.
This week's wacky retro game is called Boonga Boonga.
Boonga Boonga. All right.
Boonga Boonga.
I have so much to say.
Developed by Taft System for the arcade in 2001.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Now, Boonga Boonga was developed by a South Korean company, Taft System, and the game is also known as Spankum. It is the first arcade game to simulate Concho. And Concho is a popular prank in Japan where the victim is poked with 2 fingers in the anus while distracted.
What? What?
So the object of Boonga Boonga is to score points by spanking or performing Concho on a model of a human butt embedded in the game's cabinet.
I've seen this advertised. Yes.
Okay, and now, seen it? You mean played it? So
I wish.
So there's a plastic finger attached to the machine.
I didn't know about that.
For the players to perform Concho, which is poking 2 fingers into the anus. So the game features 8 characters that you can punish. Some of these the characters are ex-girlfriend, ex-boyfriend, a Yakuza gangster, mother-in-law,
fair enough,
gold digger, prostitute, con artist, and my personal favorite, child molester.
Hey, what? Really?
So, and then during gameplay, the facial expression of the character is displayed on the monitor, so when you're spanking them or doing Concho, they have different reactions.
Oh my gosh.
Then wait, I'm not done. The game also dispenses cards that rate players on their sexual behavior in the game. And for players who perform exceptionally well, the machine will actually dispense a small plastic trophy in the shape of feces.
Oh! How have you not come across this game in your many, many trips to the Orient?
Yeah. You said the Orient?
Yeah.
No, I have yet to run across it, but now that I know it exists, I am definitely going to try and seek it out so I can get some video.
God, I remember hearing about this, but I thought it was spanking. I think what we think of spanking and what they clearly think of spanking are 2 totally different things.
Well, no. Spanking is one part of the game. You either spank or perform Concho.
Okay.
Different actions.
All right.
So, yeah, and depending on how good you are at it, you can get a trophy of poop. So Boonga Boonga, also known as Spankum, is this week's wacky retro game.
All right, so Ann, we're going to talk about, we got another fun, I like somebody, we'll start doing our own, but some of these top 20 lists, this one's a pretty interesting one that we came across.
Yeah, well, and you know what, I mean, our top 20 list, which I think we should start doing, or top
Mm-hmm.
tens or whatever they are.
Yeah,
Like
10s.
there'll be our own list based on our own bias and game experience. This list though is actually something that's pretty, it's just a set in stone actual statistics list.
Oh yeah.
So it's an interesting one to discuss.
Absolutely. In fact, the list that we're talking about here is going to be the top 20 best-selling consoles of all time as of Halloween 2017, in case someone's listening to this many years later.
Yes, because we don't want to be accused of falsifying the numbers.
So we're just gonna hop right in with both feet in the water, and let's get right to it. So number 20, because any good list will start from the bottom and work its way up. Number 20,
right.
with 13.5 million units sold, the Wii U.
Well, and you know what? I was actually very surprised to see that the Wii U made the top 20 list because it's actually considered a commercial failure.
Which I don't understand. I don't know. I never had a problem with the Wii U. I thought the games were fun. Yes, not. I mean, when you compare it to the PlayStation, and the Xbox, but Nintendo's always on its own. So, but I know what you're talking about with the failure part of it.
Well, you know what it is. I feel like what Wii U was what they really wanted to do with the Switch, but they kind of knew the Switch was going to take longer. So this was like kind of like the midway point.
I can see that.
Yeah, because you got the big gamepad controller with the screen. The only problem was you couldn't take the games with you.
Correct.
So which is what the Switch does.
Mm-hmm.
So and I just think at that point in time, the Wii U graphics weren't all that different from the Wii, and and Nintendo had just made a ton of money on selling the Wii, so it was kind of hard to justify buying the Wii U if you had a Wii.
I can see that. I think the Wii U, I believe was, it was 1080p. It was the first 1080p system. But I know what you're talking about as far as the games really never really seemed to take advantage of that.
Right. So, right, exactly. So the games still looked like they were something off of, Component or AV or something like that. So I guess, as always with Nintendo, they always have that third-party support issue. So, and the Wii U just did not have third-party support. I'm hoping, hopefully that changes with the Switch.
I feel like it already has with the Switch compared to what we're seeing right now.
It has a bit, but I don't know if it has enough to, that'll sustain it. So we'll have to see.
So. I think I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I got 7 games, physical games for it, at least, and I think 4 of them are third-party. So,
okay, I've only got 4. I think I've only got 4, and they're all exclusive.
So some of the competition for the Wii U, like we mentioned, was the PS4 and the Xbox One. So that was certainly losing out on it. Of course, some notable games: Mario Kart 8, Super Smash Brothers for Wii U, Splatoon came out right at the tail end there. Super Mario Maker, I think, is probably the best game on the Wii U.
I never bought Super Mario Maker.
Oh, it's a fun one. Even if you don't
on my list.
Even if you don't create levels, just to play the levels that are made.
No, I know. It's like I'm still trying to finish Super Mario 3D World, which is amazing.
That was another one that was on there. And some other points. The Wii U launched November 18th, 2012. That there were 2 models. The base model was $299 with 8 gigs of storage. Of course, they had that black model that had 32 gigs of storage with a little bit more money.
I'm trying to remember which one I had. I think I have the black one.
Yeah, I got the black one too because he also had some weird point system when you bought games and stuff. It was kind of cool. All right, so and this list is from GameSpot. So GameSpot coordinated.
Thank you, GameSpot, for our segment.
Number 19, also Nintendo, selling 21.7 million units. The GameCube.
I was really fond of my GameCube, but then I look back on my collection for GameCube that I still have.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't really have that many games.
You're right. I really don't have that many. I have a good collection of games on it. I remember some of the WWE games later on, like Day of Reckoning. Those were really good.
I still have that.
But some of the more notable games for this system, Super Mario Sunshine, Super Mario Brothers Melee, Zelda Wind Waker. I mean, absolutely.
Zelda Wind Waker was just that one was one of the biggest surprises to me in the canon of Zelda because you look at it, the graphics for that game,
which was completely an overhaul to what we were used to.
Yeah, and I remember seeing it, and I'm like, oh no! I was like, this just doesn't look good. I don't think this is going to work out. And lo and behold, it was just like it was such a joy to just sit on that ship and play. It was so cool.
It really was. And I'm one of the better games I played on the system was Resident Evil 0, which is pretty much a remake of the first Resident Evil.
Ah, yes, Resident Evil 0. That was another solid one. We also got Luigi's Mansion on GameCube.
Oh yes. I wonder why
which was excellent.
That's weird. Huh.
And one of my favorite third-party games was Star Wars Rogue Squadron.
Yes.
That game was fantastic. Yep. Absolutely fantastic.
Some of the notable competition with the GameCube when it was out, the Dreamcast, the PS2, and the original Xbox.
Yeah, which all kind of squashed it.
And it was funny. This thing was so tiny, and I always found it funny with the handle on the back of the GameCube. Like it was meant to be portable, but it's not really portable.
Yeah, exactly. I never understood the point of that.
It was released November 18th, 2001 here in North America, which I didn't realize was 3 days after the original Xbox was released.
Yeah, I think they were trying to beat the Xbox to the market. But
I didn't know it was so close to each other. And of course, remember it had the mini game disc. It was the first system to move for Nintendo to move from cartridges, but they didn't go to full size CDs. They went to those mini CDs.
Yeah, they went to the mini disc because something about Nintendo, they were always very hesitant to move on to a disc-based gaming system. And I don't know if it had an issue to do with when PlayStation first came out, there was the whole disc copying fiasco. Yeah. People figured out a way to copy games, so the company wasn't making as much money. And I don't know if Nintendo was just wary of that for up until that point.
No, that was one of the main reasons that they use those little mini discs. And here's the problem with that. So with Nintendo, which at the time, now I don't think it's a concern anymore, but at the time, using a CD-based system that did not take DVDs, where the PS2, the Xbox One did, the Xbox did.
Yep.
But also, if you want to compare the size, the GameCube game discs only stored 1.5 gigs of data, where the DVDs, like PlayStation and Xbox, held 8.5 gigs of data.
Yeah, and that's a big difference when it comes to the quality of your games in terms of the way they look and and also the size, how much of an adventure. But then again, look at Wind Waker. Look what they managed to fit, on a Wind Waker disc, which is outstanding.
Now,
this was also a time when the GameCube also wasn't considered a success, and there were questions as to whether Nintendo was gonna put out another system.
I kind of remember that.
Yeah, I think there was a lot of rumors at that point where it's like, Nintendo may be done because the GameCube was not a commercial success either.
Or at least maybe move on, maybe handheld, because, it's without even looking at the list, it's a known fact that their handhelds always were popular.
Well, yeah, right, but I also remember rumors about is Nintendo going to license out their characters to Sony and Microsoft, because they honestly thought that this was going to be the end of their console making. Yeah. And don't forget, this was also not too long after the Dreamcast failed and Sega announced they would no longer be making systems.
Very true. Let me ask you, which GameCube did you have, the black or the indigo?
I had and still have the indigo.
Nice. I got the black one.
I wish I'd had the black one.
All right, number 18, selling 24 million units, the Xbox. Released November 15th, 2001.
I found that surprising because I honestly thought more units of that would have been sold. However, it was Microsoft's first foray into the console market, so I guess it's a pretty respectable. That was a pretty respectable number. I mean, it outsold Nintendo.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And, of course, its competition was the Dreamcast, the PS2, the GameCube. Sold for $300 at launch. When those systems came out, the PS2, the GameCube, the Xbox, that was considered the sixth generation of consoles. Just kind of give you an idea where that was in gaming history. Yeah,
because where are we now, technically? Are we at, 8?
I would probably say 8. I think we'll find out a little later, yeah. And also, with the Xbox, the original Xbox coming out, it was the first major gaming system to be created by an American company since the Jaguar.
Wow.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
And the Jaguar failed spectacularly.
I'm pretty sure it's not on this list.
No, I don't think it made it. You know what else didn't make this list, I'm sure? Good old Virtual Boy.
We're far from over on the list. Some notable.
Well, you know what? I mean, we're only on 18, but I can almost guarantee you that we will not be seeing it on any of the number of the list because hashtag VB sucks.
Some notable games on the Xbox. Of course, Halo 2, Ninja Gaiden, Panzer Dragoon, Project Gotham.
Yes.
Panzer Dragoon Orta. Splinter Cell, Project Gotham Racing, DOA 3, Fable, which is hysterical because my supervisor at work despises that game, which I find very funny.
I think Halo was the one that really put Microsoft on the map.
Absolutely.
Go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. No, you were going to say.
Nope, never mind.
Alrighty. Number 17.
It's over.
With an estimated 26 million units sold, this is the first one, one of the more recent ones, the Xbox One. So that number
Xbox
could go up. Oh, there's a link.
Oh, that number's definitely going to go up, right?
Link. To answer your question, yes, we are currently in the 8th generation.
Okay, so we're in the 8th generation. Well, now here's the thing with the Xbox One, though. I don't know how much more those numbers are going to go. Well, I mean, they're going to go up, but now they're going to be slowed down by the Xbox One X that just recently was released.
Sure, I guess. So, but do you consider? I guess we could talk about that later. Because do you consider that a whole new system or just a modification of the current one?
Well, no, I think it's a whole new. I honestly think it's a whole new system
because it plays all Xbox One stuff.
It plays all Xbox One stuff, but then it's gonna have games that won't play on the Xbox One.
Well,
to me that's a bit of a leap.
I don't think they've announced anything like that yet. Like I just got Call of Duty World War II. It's optimized for Xbox One X, but I mean it plays gorgeous on Xbox One.
Well, you could be right. Well, we'll have to see how it shakes out.
Of course.
But at the moment, I mean, 26 million is pretty damn good.
Oh, definitely. Released November 22nd, 2013. It is, of course, going up against the PS4, the PS4 Pro, the Wii U, the Switch, and some notable games here. The Halo Master Chief Collection, Halo 5, Forza Motorsport 6, Forza Motorsport 5 for that. Actually, Forza.
Just Forza.
Yeah, pretty much. So
Forza, Halo, Minecraft, those are like, Gears of War, which is huge.
Oh, yeah, big time.
And just to correct you, they're definitely not competing against the Wii U anymore because Wii U stopped production.
Well, now, yeah. Well, I'm saying when it was released during that time.
When it was released.
Yeah,
yes,
it
now. It was definitely competing with the Wii U, and it quickly outpaced it.
So here we go. Here's one in our wheelhouse. With 30 million units sold, the Atari 2600 comes in at number 16, being released September 11th, 1977.
Wow. And it's also listed as the oldest game on the list, so we were not seeing anything older. So no Odyssey on the list.
No.
But, I mean, the Atari 2600 was just so monumental to the video game industry at the time because this was just a new thing that was catching on. And to say that it sold 30 million units for something that was fairly young. I mean, you're talking about video games in their infancy.
It was just a second generation.
Right. So it was a testament to the power of Atari at that time. Unfortunately, they also contributed to the video game crash of the 80s, which was definitely not a good thing. But,
I'm shocked this system was discontinued in 1992.
Oh, yeah, no. I mean, This system lasted a long time.
Sold for $199. Put into perspective, there was 128 bits. Excuse me, 128 bytes of RAM.
Bytes, not
bytes
bits.
of RAM. Good Lord.
Yeah.
Of course, it went up against ColecoVision, the Magnavox Odyssey and Television, and a couple systems I never heard of, the Fairchild Channel F, and the Bally Astrocade.
I think there's a reason why we've never heard of it.
And, of course, notable games, Pac-Man, Combat, Street Racer, Pitfall, and, of course, E.T.
Oh, E.T. Well, E.T. and Pac-Man don't belong on the notable games list there. Like what you should be adding on that thing is Adventure, Haunted House. You had some really amazing. Pitfall was a fantastic game on there. There were so many good games on that. Of course, Custer's Last Stand, and then
Westward Ho. That's what I'm calling it.
Yeah, exactly. Berserk.
Yeah, so there's a lot of good games for it.
Yeah, Berserk, Asteroids.
Yep.
Space Invaders, Centipede, Millipede. There are so many fond memories I have of the Atari 2600.
Number 15, coming in at 30.7 million units. The Genesis, released October 29th, 1989.
Now, this surprised me because I honestly thought it was going to be a little higher on the list.
Yeah, me too, to be honest with you. I mean, there are newer consoles. You got to think of it also. Here's where these type of lists come into play, because back then, the popularity of gaming wasn't all that much. Let's face facts. The group of people buying game systems today, we were all way too young, and none of us had jobs to buy systems back then. So it was kind of based on our parents. So that's why I feel like we're going to see the newer systems. Like these old systems, like 30.7 is tremendous for its time.
Well, yeah, and the other thing, too, is that at the time, the video game industry was still building a gamer base. Like now, to your point, we're in an age now where our generation, we're still gaming, and then, our children, not ours, but, our generation's children are gaming as well. So, and that would constitute for more sales.
Absolutely. Of course, it competed against the Super Nintendo, the TurboGrafx 16, the Neo Geo, and we can go on for hours about the games it had, but of course, Sonic, Echo, Altered Beast, Joe Montana Football, and Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, and I think they backed up the money truck for Joe Montana Football.
Oh, I think so. Absolutely.
Yeah, I remember reading that in the Console Wars book when I read that. And let's move on.
Number 14.
Keep cutting me off. See what
I do, yeah. I'm not good at that. With 32.9 million units, the Nintendo 64, possibly the next mini console we may see. Launched in Japan June 23rd, 1996. I think we got it that September. Sold for $200. Yeah, we did get it that September.
Yep, and for good reason, because I have to say, like, this console, for some odd reason, I don't know if it's when it came out or what was going on in my life, but like I hold this console, I think, most dear. Like I think even more so than my original NES. Because
really,
there are more games I turn back to on the N64, I think, than any other console that I own.
Okay.
And I know you've been doing the list, but like I can just like throw right off the top of my head. Obviously you talked about Super Mario 64, which was a game changer.
Oh, absolutely.
In the industry, absolute game changer in the industry at the time. And then Mario Kart 64, which took everything that Super Mario Kart had and just made it 1,000 times more exciting and better and fun. Yep. The Mario Party series was birthed on the N64, and I used to my hand used to get raw from playing that game. It was absolutely insane. Wave Race, which that was the first game I ever saw where it actually looked like real water.
Yeah, right.
In the game, and it was amazing. The Legend of Zelda games on there. I mean, you can't say anything about those games.
In my opinion,
anything negative about this game.
Yeah.
I know you didn't like Majora's Mask.
Majora's Mask, but Ocarina of Time, best Zelda game ever, in my opinion.
Yeah, I go back and forth between that one and Link to the Past all the time. I don't know which one I like better. It's like a tug of war in my brain. Star Fox 64. Holy moly! I played that game a million times.
I know you never played it, but it was. I mean, colleges across the country. GoldenEye 007 was ridiculous for the multiplayer, because this was one of the first systems, if not the first, to have 4-port controllers. 4 ports on the system.
Yeah, no. It was the first one, I believe, that had 4 ports included. Other gaming systems allowed 4 players, but you had to buy the adapter. For the extra. Like I remember the PlayStation had the adapter and stuff. But yeah, I mean, I can't say enough about these games. I really can't.
What I didn't realize that hardware-wise, the N64 was more powerful than the PlayStation. Just the cartridges really never lent to that full capability of the N64.
Well, the problem with the cartridges were they could not hold enough. Had they made the N64 a disc system, like they had originally planned to do when they had that deal with Sony, then you would have been looking at the Super Nintendo PlayStation, basically, or we would have gotten a Nintendo PlayStation hybrid, which would have been amazing. And
not only that, but I also remember the price. It was $70 a game, which back then was a lot of money.
You know, it's funny. I don't remember them costing.
I do remember that. That I do remember.
See, I don't. I remember them costing. I thought they would cost 60. I forgot 70.
And then, of course, it went up against the PlayStation and the Saturn. So,
right, and we all know the Saturn was unfortunate. Unfortunately lost to that. But the PlayStation survived and put Sony on the map.
It sure did.
But I love my Nintendo 64.
It's a great one. You know, I'm wondering, you think they'll only fit 10 games if they do the N64 Mini?
No. They
because
should be able to fit
no, because the NES was 30, the Super NES was 20. That's what I'm thinking. They're only going to do like 10 games.
No, I have a feeling we'll see 20.
Even though the Super Nintendo Classic and the NES Classic have the exact same insides.
Right. No, I'm fairly confident we're going to see at least 20 games.
We will see. Speaking of which, selling 49.1 million units, the Super Nintendo. Released August 23rd, 1991.
Yeah, I mean, the Super Nintendo, in all honesty, I think if Sega Genesis didn't come out before it, I think the Super Nintendo would have sold even more. Because you had that rivalry going on between Sega and Nintendo at the time. But the cool thing about the Super Nintendo is, again, it took everything that succeeded on the NES, your Marios, your Zeldas, it took all of them, made new versions of the games, made all of them better. And we also got a very impactful addition in Donkey Kong Country.
Oh, absolutely. That whole series. And forget, even with that, F-Zero, Chrono Trigger. So, you want to talk about RPGs on the Super Nintendo. Chrono Trigger, Super Mario RPG, Final Fantasy VI, Zelda, and then we started getting Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat. I mean, again, we can go on. I mean, the system sounded beautiful, looked beautiful, played great. It was up against the TurboGrafx 16 and the Sega Genesis. And I know we're a bit Nintendo heavy, but I think the proof is in the pudding where, the N64, not N64, the Super Nintendo was just above and beyond some of the other systems in a lot of ways, hardware-wise.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree with you on that. I mean, there was nothing to complain about the Super Nintendo. You got a lot of quality games out of that thing.
Absolutely. And then right behind it, number 12, selling 61.9 million units, the Nintendo Entertainment System, which released here October 18th, 1985 for $300.
Well, and it's interesting as we look at this list and we see where all of these fall, that you can tell that Nintendo as a company, they're very conservative with what they do. Because, we're still in the bottom half of the top 20, and almost all of their all of their consoles are sitting in this bottom half.
True, but also if you noticed, it's their consoles, it's their home consoles. We haven't gotten to any of the handhelds yet.
No, I understand that, but I'm just saying, in other words, Nintendo as a company, you can tell that they're always more concerned with quality over quantity.
Oh, absolutely.
They're not looking to sell the most. I mean, granted, every company should be. That's the point. But in other words, they're happier with keeping their reputation high, so that they sell. They sell it obviously to a good profit.
Very true, very true. And of course, it was up against the Atari 7800, the Sega Master System. It was the best-selling console of its generation. And, of course, Mario, Zelda, Mega Man series, Castlevania series, the Contras. Great games came out of the NES.
Well, and the NES is responsible for, bringing the video game industry, back to life, because it was dying thanks to the crash. So,
Way to go, Atari.
I know. If we did not have the Nintendo Entertainment System, we may not have the video game industry we have today.
Very true. So currently on this, and this number will probably continue to go up, but currently it's 63.3 million units. The PS4 being released November 15th, 2013. And I will say this, of those 63.3 million, 1 million units were sold day one, which made it the fastest selling console in a 24-hour period.
Which is unheard of. I mean,
it's nuts. And it's currently the best selling console of the 8th generation.
Right. At the moment, it is.
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll see how things go. But I mean, it's. I will say this with the current generation. I think PlayStation 4 found a way to do everything right, whereas I feel like Microsoft faltered just a little bit too much when they first came out with the Xbox One. The price tag was insane.
I can see that.
Well, first off, they came out roughly around the same time, and the PS4 was $100 cheaper.
Yeah.
I mean, just right there. I mean, if you're going after, a younger generation, the worst place to try and hit them is in their pocket. So, when these first came out, it's like, do I want a PlayStation 4 where I can buy at least one game, for the same price that I would get an Xbox One? It was just an obvious choice.
Currently, it's been up against the Wii U, the Switch, the Xbox One, and of course, some best games for it was the Uncharted 4 for this one, Until Dawn, Horizon Zero Dawn. So some good games, and still good games coming out on the PS4.
Yes, and I mean, I just recently bought the PS4 in July,
Yeah.
So I'm just starting to get into their library, and man, it's a daunting library to play catch up on.
So now we're going to crack the top 10. So number 10 at 67 million units, and this is where we're going to see our first handheld, the Nintendo 3DS.
See, now when it comes to these lists, like for me, consoles are always home consoles. I wouldn't consider handheld a console, but I guess it all depends on your point of view.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you just the term. I hear what you're talking about though, because you would call a console, handheld, handheld. So
exactly, but I mean,
but a system's a system.
A system is a system.
So
Now, so you're gonna talk more about the handhelds than I will, because I'm not a big handheld lover.
Some of the best games, I'm telling you, came out on these. So the 3DS came out in Japan February 26, 2011, and the 3DS was awesome because it was the system, and the first thing I remember, entertainment-wise, that took advantage of 3D without needing 3D glasses. And yes, I'm going to be honest, the 3D fad has passed between movies, television, I think even with gaming.
Thankfully.
But it did it in a good way. It wasn't 3D like popping out at you. It was more like a depth 3D. You know what I mean? Where it kind of looks into the screen. When they redesigned the 3DS, it came out with the new 3DS. The problem with the original 3DS was if you want to get the 3D aspect to it, you had to look straight onto the screen. If you were even off to the side a little bit, it would start to get blurry. They even sold for Kid Icarus 3D. They sold an adapter, if you want to call it, that you would set the 3DS down on it so it would position itself properly so you can get that 3D look. With the new 3DS, it tracks your eyes, so even if you're looking at it on a side, you still get that 3D look to it. And its biggest competition was the Vita, so the PlayStation Vita.
And with the 3D, the 3D thing's definitely over. And I've used the 3DS once or twice, and again, the 3D never works for me. I mean, I think I don't know what the obsession has been with 3D. I don't know why Nintendo always loves to go back to 3D. Did you not learn your lesson with the Virtual Boy?
Well, I mean,
come on.
All joking aside, the Virtual Boy, yes, with the one color and all, and the way you had to play it, this was a good idea because it was in color. You didn't need any special adapter for it. But here's the thing I remember with the 3DS, because you want to talk about not how the 3DS, how 3D may not have done so well. The system was actually tanking at first. I bought it day one. It was $249 at launch. 6 months later, it dropped to $169 because of poor sales. And I remember going, son of a gun, I just bought this system. Now, to Nintendo's credit, the people who bought it earlier, they gave us 10 free NES and 10 free Game Boy Advance games downloaded.
Which was a nice way for them to make up for it.
Which is good. Don't get me wrong.
But the price tag was just way too high for this.
No,
especially because everybody had a DS, so it really wasn't.
Correct.
You didn't have to make the transition over to it.
Well, you would, because DS games played on the 3DS, but 3DS did not play on the DS.
That's what pushed people over.
Yeah, and you can play 3DS games in 2D. In fact, most of the games I play on my I should just get a 2DS in all honesty. But Some of the notable games, of course, the Pokemon series X and Y, Pokemon Sun and Moon, Mario Kart 7, the new Super Mario Brothers series, Super Mario Land 3D, Super Smash Brothers for 3DS, which is really cool. So it's got a good listing of games, and if you honestly even nowadays you'd buy a 2DS, but even just turning off the 3DS aspect, some of those 3DS games, fantastic.
Now, do all the 3DS games play on the 2DS?
Yes.
Okay, well,
Absolutely.
That's good at least.
So number 9 with 81.5 million units, the Game Boy Advance, which was released here in North America March 21st, 2001.
These numbers are just getting huge.
Yeah, now they're really starting to jump. The Game Boy Advance was essentially, power-wise, a Super NES in your hands.
Yeah, and considering how awesome the Super NES was, I mean, this was definitely a must-own if you wanted a Super NES on the go.
Yeah, and it was backwards compatible. It played Game Boy and Game Boy Color games. And if you want to look at the competition that the Game Boy Advance had, it was up against the Neo Geo Pocket Color and the N-Gage.
Yeah, so it had no competition.
None what, even though I wanted an N-Gage so badly.
Why?
It was just, back then it was a cell phone that was a video game system.
Oh, yeah, I see that.
I wanted
delight.
But I'd rather have gotten the redesigned N-Gage, because the first N-Gage, it was like talking into a side, like you had to talk into it, it was like you're talking into a taco. The way you had to hold it if you were talking into it. Of course, notable games on the Game Boy Advance, the Super Mario Advance series, which pretty much re-released a lot of the Super Mario games on Super Nintendo. Final Fantasy VI Advance, the Zelda games, Legend of Zelda, the Minish Cap, which I think you can download on the Wii U, I think. But for that Zelda game is one of my top 5 Zelda games.
Really?
Oh, it's fantastic.
I gotta give that one a shot.
No, definitely. Mario and Luigi series, that's where it started. Advance Wars was awesome. Metroid Fusion. I got pretty much to Mother Brain, and then my stupid 3DS memory card crapped out on me, so I lost my entire save. So I have to... It's been a long time. I'm still getting over that before I have to start it from scratch.
My condolences to you.
It was terrible. And Mario Kart Super Circuit, which was a great Mario Kart game on it. We're actually going to continue with the handhelds, because at number... Where are we?
8?
Yeah, I think so. The number disappeared on me. Okay. So number 8 is...
number 8.
At 82 million units, the PSP, the PlayStation Portable, released December 12th, 2004.
I had no idea the PlayStation Portable sold that well.
Oh, I remember how popular it was, yeah.
I had no idea.
The weird thing, though, about it was, and it lasted a good 10 years. Its only competition was the DS, the original Nintendo DS.
Of course.
But it used those weird optical discs. I think they called them UMDs, I think it was called, or UHDs.
Yeah, UMDs, I believe.
Yeah, and it was just basically a tiny, almost looked like a GameCube CD, a little smaller than the GameCube CD, but it was housed in like a plastic holder, so you never really touched the disc. But what was cool about the PSP is you also were, and I actually owned like maybe 3 or 4, they released movies
on it,
on these UMDs.
Yeah, so if you wanted to take a movie on the go with you, if you're traveling or something like that. I mean, it was a great idea. But like I said, I'm more surprised that it sold as many as it did. I didn't realize it had that large of a game library. It
did. The God of War series on it. I mean, you can get them now. You can get the PSP games. You can actually get on the PS3. Couple of Kingdom Hearts games were on it. Final Fantasy games were on it. But they were like, all those games were like just ported, not ports. They were new games in the series, but the games were designed to be on the go, so they weren't really very in depth.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember the PSP. I remember was the first system I used like to listen to internet radio when I was getting ready to go to bed.
Oh,
I would
wow!
Throw a station on it. Yeah, I did use it for movies. I did play some games on it. I was able to hook it up into. It was the first thing. I do it now with the iPhone, but I got an adapter. I hooked it into my television, so I watched some movies on the television.
Were you able to play the games on your television too?
I think you were, I think you were, because it was really just like a video out.
Well, if it was a video out, you should have been able to, yeah.
Yeah, but it didn't translate well. Like it looked a little choppy on the big screen.
Gotcha.
I think the way it came through.
All right, cool.
Yeah, so that was really sweet. Number 7, we're going to stick with the PlayStation series. 83.8 million, which is an estimated number. The PS3, which was released in Japan November 11th, 2006. And this bad boy launched at a whopping $600.
Yep, and I didn't pay it.
I sure did.
Not only did I not pay it, it's one of the very few consoles I don't own.
I thought you bought one already.
No, I haven't bought the PS3
Ooh,
yet.
okay.
Nope, it's on my list. It's on my list.
Its biggest competition was the Nintendo Wii and the Xbox 360. I remember buying it. I bought it for $600, and no joke, like a week later, it dropped in price.
Yeah, that happened to me with the Xbox One. But
I mean,
I feel like this generation, this would be the 7th, right?
Should be, yeah.
Yeah, the 7th generation I feel like was probably, at least if you look at all the generations, was probably the most successful generation of gaming. Because these systems, especially the PS3, like these hung around forever. I mean, in fact, I think they're still making PS3
No,
games.
no, I think they stopped them.
I don't think so.
No, I thought they did. Okay.
No, I think it's still going.
I think some of the reasons for the $600 price tag though was also it came out and it had a Blu-ray player. I think it was the first system to have. Yeah, it was the first console to have Blu-ray built into the system, and back then Blu-ray was expensive. In fact, it was cheaper to buy a PS3 as a standalone Blu-ray than it was to buy some of the Blu-ray players.
Yeah, exactly. Because Blu-rays were like $800 or $900 when they first came out. It was insane.
It was kind of, and I remember it was like that when we got DVDs. We went from VHS to DVD. It was very pricey, and then dropped eventually.
It dropped eventually. Jeez, I mean, I can honestly say that I bought a Blu-ray player for $35. So, brand new.
Even the games themselves. Speaking of games on the PS3, I mean, the God of War series. Well, God of War 3. Metal Gear Solid 4, Little Big Planet was huge on the PS3.
Oh, I remember.
All right, so next up on the list, we're at number 6 at 84 million units. The good old Xbox 360.
Yeah, and man, I think I want to say, like, yeah, my Xbox 360, I have so many games for it. Like, just so many.
Released November 22nd, 2005. I think the 360 was probably the first system I did not get it. Like, I didn't pre-order. I waited a while before I got a 360.
I know, and I waited even longer because I bought yours.
You sure did. It sold for about $400, and they made a cheaper model for about $100 less. It didn't do so well in Japan, but it did real good here.
Well, it was also the Microsoft systems are American-made systems, so
true,
I think they always have a harder time selling in Japan. But the cool thing about the interesting thing to look at with the 360 is it outsold the PS3, but it also came out a year earlier.
Yeah,
considering that the PS3 came out with a $600 price tag, which you're talking $200 to $300 more than this system, it really showed you how much love there was for Sony compared to Microsoft.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, Microsoft makes incredible systems. I have them all. But it just shows like Sony and Microsoft they've been the two giants going head to head for now 15 years.
Oh yeah. The 360 was probably the first system to be that all-encompassing entertainment unit that we now have today with streaming. It did Netflix, it did CDs, it did DVDs. I even remember I bought the HD DVD add-on for it because, as usual, I backed the wrong horse.
Yeah, well, that's you.
I got it for like $30. I forgot I traded something in, and I knocked down the price like $30. Those HD DVDs were fun.
Was it your virtual?
It was not.
No, I'm sorry. They would have charged you more.
But of course, unfortunately, the Xbox 360s probably, besides some of the games, let's go. Dead or Alive 4, Gears of War series, Viva Pinata, Halo. Yep. The other thing it's known for was the Red Ring of Death.
Yes, and I'm still convinced that you were trying to take me for a ride when you sold me your 360 because I only had it for like a week, and I got the Red Ring of Death.
So you did. It was not long at all, but all sales were final. Some of the home-brewed quick fixes for the Xbox 360 Red Ring of Death, the one I heard of the most was you put a towel over it. Basically, the whole issue was a soldering issue.
Yeah.
So if you put a towel over it, you're basically cooking the 360, and it's soldering itself. But what I'm reading here, I never heard of this one. Some people would put the console's motherboard into an oven, again, to solder the piece that needed to be soldered.
Wow.
That
really
is
weird.
nuts. And its competition, of course, was the PS3 and the Nintendo Wii. Up next, speaking of which, at 101.6 million units is the Nintendo Wii.
Wow.
Released November 19th, 2006.
And you know what? And rightfully so. I mean, the Wii offered gamers something that's really never been offered before at home. And for that alone, and it was also probably the ultimate family console because they did not just cater this to the gamer.
Oh, no.
This was to the everyday person. I mean, parents, grandparents, friends, cousins, people who've never picked up a controller before. This was the system for them. And everybody loved it.
It was great. It had great, you're right, it had great, simple, fun games. Not only that, it was the first system that had the virtual console for it.
Yep.
So we're able to download all those classic games. I got a ton of them. Even like from Genesis, TurboGrafx. It was weird playing, a TurboGrafx game on the Wii. Like, what? This doesn't make sense. I didn't realize the remotes were Bluetooth. I thought they were just some weird connection that Nintendo made up.
No,
that's
interesting.
They use Bluetooth. I don't. I'm sure you've already read ahead on the thing. I was going to say, do you remember what the code name was for the Wii?
Yes, it was Revolution.
Oh, I'm sure you just guessed that off the top of your head.
I did. Well, do you remember the code name for GameCube?
Dolphin.
Yes.
Yep. All right, N64.
Oh. I remember it being called Project 64. I don't remember what the code name was. It was
Ultra 64.
Ultra 64.
Yep.
Yep.
I think that was the name. Oh no, I think it was That's right, Revolution. We were like, when we heard about the Revolution, like, all right, Nintendo Revolution, this is going to be cool. Wait, what's a Wii?
Yeah, what's a Wii? Yeah, and then of course and then on the Wii you got to make your own character, which was called a Mii.
Yeah, well, you got that on the Wii. Then the commercial, we would like to play. It competed against the Xbox 360 and the PS3 during that generation, and of course, as Nintendo does, they always put the title of the system into the series. Wii Sports, which is the number one selling game of all time because of this. Mario Kart Wii, Super Paper Mario is amazing on the Wii. Probably, in my opinion, best game on the Wii.
Oh, good to know. I've never played that one.
Oh, it's awesome. I think you can download it on the Wii U. Actually, you can.
But then again, you also have to realize I just bought a Wii for the first time like 2 months ago.
Oh, then you could probably find it, the physical copy, cheaper than the digital copy.
Yeah, I was a holdout.
Kirby's Epic Yarn, Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword, and of course Super Smash Bros. Brawl, just name a few.
Oh, it's awesome.
And it held for a system that was so far behind as far as the hardware system itself with an Xbox 360 and a PS3. I mean, it was still 480p when it came out.
Wow.
Yeah. But it was backwards compatible with the GameCube.
Well, which was awesome because we were getting to the age where I think PS3 was the first one to do it, and it was the reason why I didn't buy a PS3. PS3s were not backwards compatible with PS2 games. The original ones were.
Yes, the first series that came out.
But it was too expensive for them, and then they cut it out.
Yep. Actually, the very first PS3 that came out was backwards all the way back to the PS1.
Yeah, I know. And if I can get my hands on one of those,
I have one. I still have mine.
Yeah. See, I need to when I go buy a used PS3, I need to ask for the first generation PS3.
Okay, so. Up next, number 4 at 102.4 million units, the PlayStation 1. Launched in Japan December 3rd, 1994.
Now, this is interesting because considering that this was Sony's first system ever, and it just goes to tell you that just how great and groundbreaking the system was when it came out. It's just, yeah, I mean, wow. I mean, that's the only way to put it. It was just like there were just so many games on it that were memorable. It was definitely far enough ahead of all the other systems out on the market. Just absolutely amazing all around.
When you think of some of the top games ever, they were on the PlayStation. Resident Evil series.
Yep.
Tekken series. I'm talking series, not just one game, the series.
No, yeah, multiple games.
Final Fantasies 7, 8, and 9.
Man, Final Fantasy VII is still probably, like, hands down the best RPG of all time.
And then, speaking of single games, Castlevania Symphony of the Night. Probably the best Castlevania, period.
Yep. Totally agree with that.
Crash Bandicoot, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2, Spyro the Dragon. Your favorite, Pa-Rappa the Rapper?
Oh, yeah. Who can forget Pa-Rappa the Rapper? Metal Gear Solid.
Oh, God. That went from run and gun to stealth. Like, who wanted to play stealth on a video game where you had to sneak around and not shoot anybody? Well, Metal Gear Solid solved that problem.
Yeah. No, I mean, they're just, yeah. Like I said, if you go back to any system looking for looking for like you just said, the most successful games or game series, I think Sony PlayStation has everybody beat. I mean, Nintendo always has their Marios and their Zeldas and stuff. I was like, but Sony it was relentless. I don't know which console has the most games made for it, but
that's a good question.
It's a great question, and we should find the answer to it. But I would definitely, if I had to pick one system that had the most games made, my money would be on the PlayStation.
Absolutely. All right, so now we're in the top 3. Here we go. Number 3, with a total of 118.6 million units sold. They're actually combining these two because I guess they just consider it an upgrade. The Game Boy Color.
Well, yeah, I mean, the first really successful handheld system, like hands down, when nobody was making them. I mean, you had your little Game & Watches and the failed Microvision and all that stuff. I was like, but this was really it. And I mean, just especially for kids of our age, the whole idea of having Nintendo in your pocket to go. I mean, it was a dream.
I remember when I was little, we used to go to a beach club out here, Breezy Point Surf Club. And when the Game Boy came out, well, in Japan, April 21st, 1989, came here a little bit later. When I used to just be bored because I'm like, I hate the beach. I don't like the sand, and I don't like to swim. So I used to be bored when I was there, and there were other kids my age. But when the Game Boy finally came out, that just changed my summers, it probably made me more of an introvert because now I'm still playing by myself with a system. But even without the Game Link, because, we didn't, for some reason I didn't have a Game Link, so I couldn't play a lot of 2-player games with the Game Boy, but we would just gather together and just play Game Boy. Trade games, play each other's games. Oh, it was awesome.
Well, yeah, I mean, let's face it. I mean, there isn't anything bad you can say about the Game Boy. I mean, first, Game Boy was kind of what introduced us Tetris. Tetris to me will always be like a Game Boy game, even though it was on NES.
Like, it was my first foray into Tetris was on Game Boy.
It was mine too because my first foray into Tetris was at the Nintendo World Championship, and it was on the Game Boy there.
Yep. And to think about it, its competition was the Game Gear, a 16-bit. It was 16-bit, right? I think so.
I don't think it was 16-bit.
Maybe not 16-bit, but a full color. It was color,
but a full
full color system, which was you were able to attach a television adapter to it, and the Game Boy was an 8-bit monochrome system, and it kicked Game Gear's butt.
Well, I mean, the issue with Game Gear was that it didn't have enough quality games to compete. I mean, Nintendo puts... You can see the love that they put into their series. And it extends on all of their consoles. It doesn't matter which console you're getting. When you're getting a Mario game, you're getting an amazing Mario game. Same thing with Zelda. Same thing with Metroid. So that's why the Game Boy definitely outpaced Game Gear. It just could do... It always comes down to the quality of the games.
The Mario series on Game Boy. Yes, Super Mario Land, little tough. The Super Mario Land 2 and 3 were more fun. The Pokemon series alone was on Game Boy for the longest time. Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening. Again, I'm putting it in the top 5, my top 5 of Zelda games. Game is phenomenal.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. I mean, there's a reason why it sold 118 million, and there it is right there.
So that was 118 million. Number 2 at 154 million units, the Nintendo DS.
And that's just number 2.
Yeah, and that came out November 21st, 2004. This bad boy was a 32-bit system, double screen, touch screen on the bottom. I loved the original DS.
Well, I mean, the DS basically took what the Game Boy did so well and then just upped it 1,000%. Again, it's one of those things where it's like they went from 8-bit to they went to 8-bit to 16-bit with the Advance, and then jump up to 32-bit with the DS. But again, the games. It's always going to come down to the games. I mean, the dual screen was, just a monumental addition to the console market that had never been done before. And
not only that, but the touch screen as well on the bottom screen. I can tell you from experience, because I know, again, like you said earlier, you're not into the handhelds. The first Castlevania game that came out on DS, Castlevania DS. I played that game for hours on end because not only did it take advantage of the dual screen where you had a constant map on the top screen, which was very helpful, and that game played like Symphony of the Night, that type of game style. But the way you were able to use the touch screen, the way you had to use the touch screen incorporated into the regular gameplay was just never before done so perfectly, in my opinion. But that's just one game.
And that's what you got on the DS. What you got is a unique playing experience with every game because of that second screen.
Yep. Then later on, Super Mario 64 DS came out. The Pokemon games continued on there. The Zelda games continued on there. I will be honest, I wasn't crazy about Spirit Tracks, Legend of Zelda Spirit Tracks. Legend of Zelda Phantom Hourglass was better. And then you got the Animal Crossing. You got one of my favorite games on the DS, which is also the game with the most depressing level ever, is a game called Elite Beat Agents. It's a rhythm game. You have to tap the screen and rhythm to the game. They had real songs in it, obviously redone for money reasons. And it was a level. It was the song Chicago, You're My Inspiration. You're my inspiration. Yeah, that one. And then what happens on the top screen plays out kind of like a movie. And long story short, the movie is Christmas time. The girl's running after her father, and it's not till the end of the game you realize that he's apparently dead from a plane crash, and his spirit's coming back to wish him happy birthday. It is the most depressing level you have ever seen. Oh my god.
I love it.
Because when you start to go off rhythm, the story changes a little bit. So when you're hitting the buttons, you see the kid running up to the spirit of the father, and it's getting brighter and brighter. But when you start missing, he starts to fade away. It's terrible.
Ow!
And every time I hear that song, I can't help to be almost choke up a little bit because there's not a dry eye in the room when you see it for the first time. And they hit that chorus, "You're my inspiration," or "You're the inspiration." Oh, it is hysterical, but so sad at the same time. And with that, the number one selling console of all time, at 155 million units, the PlayStation 2.
Now, it only outsold the Game Boy Advance by 1 million, but when you think about the competition the PlayStation 2 had, the fact that it sold 155 million just tells you exactly how outstanding this system was.
The competition: Dreamcast, the GameCube, the Xbox.
Yeah, I mean, that's 3 solid systems. Now the Dreamcast sunk quickly, but still, GameCube and Xbox were doing well. And again, I mean, it basically took everything that was successful on the PlayStation and just ramped it up.
It's part of, you're exactly right. It's part of the 6th generation console. And Ant, you asked a question earlier. I think you may have gotten the answer. I have to assume this is Japanese and North American releases. There were over 2,000 games available for the PS2.
2,000 games. Okay, so
Over
maybe
2,000.
All right, so then, yeah, I stand corrected. Then maybe PlayStation 2 would be the one that has the most games ever. I thought PlayStation 1 might have been, but
had a 12-year span. So this system lasted. I believe it may have been the first system with a DVD. Yeah, it was. Yeah, it's the first one to support DVD.
Yeah, I believe so.
Do you remember the original PS2 discs, the CDs? They had that blue bottom to it.
Oh yeah.
And then so PS2 made their own CDs. I guess I don't know what the blue bottom did, but then they moved into like DVDs, which gave them better gaming. So I guess, but it was also the first one. It was it my first? When I went to college, it was my only DVD player.
Oh really?
Oh yeah. And the series. Let's talk about them.
Yeah, we need to talk about the games because like this system just. Wow.
The God of War series started. God of War 1 and 2, I love the God of War series.
God of War series were awesome.
Devil May Cry.
Devil May Cry, I loved that game. I mean, now, there were several of them, but that first one was just absolutely amazing.
I think the first 3 were on this one.
Yes.
Final Fantasy X.
Final Fantasy X was awesome.
Metal Gear Solid 2 and 3.
Also amazing.
The Silent Hill series, which I never got into, but I do respect that it was a great series.
No, it was an excellent series. And then, of course, 2 of my absolute favorite games, Kingdom Hearts.
Oh, absolutely. Kingdom Hearts. Yep. Ratchet and Clank, Sly Cooper. And a game that's not on this list, but it was one of the first PS2 games I got, and I love the game. Do you remember The Bouncer?
No.
It was an early PS2 game. Kind of played like Devil May Cry.
No, I remember... what was it called? Amplitude was the sequel for it.
Oh, Frequency.
Frequency, which was like one of the first rhythm games ever made.
Wasn't it the same company that made Guitar Hero?
I believe so.
I think so. Oh, those games rock. That was some good music too on that. It was like techno.
Yeah, absolutely loved that.
So yeah, I mean, PS2. It's funny how Nintendo really dominated like the top 5. Well, we can say top 10, but it was really PlayStation 2 that wins over the entire thing.
Well, I mean, while Nintendo dominated the list completely because they just had more systems,
this is true.
Sheer quantity. Yeah, but I mean, when it comes down to it, I mean, Sony just had a way. Sony just had a way to just fly out with it. So.
No, definitely. And when you look at Ant's got the last slide here, you can see they really kind of like a bar comparison. There's a bar chart of these games, and just
I did see that.
The jump, like the beginning, like the Wii U, the GameCube, the Xbox, they're all hovering there. They're close to each other, and you get that really the first jump is from the Super Nintendo, which sold 49.1, to the NES, which sold 61.9, then the 3DS to the Game Boy Advance. Then forget about it with the Xbox 360 to the Wii. So,
yeah. Well, I mean, ultimately, it comes down to the fact of, like I said, now you have multiple generations buying these things.
Oh, absolutely.
So, and that's just it. Now, more and more people, are playing.
And with that, the Xbox One, the PS4, they're still out there. We'll see how they do. The Switch is selling like mad. I don't have the numbers right now, but the Switch is doing fantastic right now.
That it is, and may it continue to do fantastic.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens. Maybe in another 20 years, we'll do this. We'll do this console, best-selling consoles again. Of course, if we're still doing the show in 20 years, it'd be amazing.
One of us will be dead.
Oh boy, what do you got planned for me?
Well, I don't know. I'm just being optimistic.
And so there you have it from GameSpot, the 20 best-selling consoles of all time.
Well, Larry, since we were talking about the top 20 consoles of all time, I found a really interesting piece of information for our Did You Know segment.
Oh, all right.
Now we all know that the Sega Genesis came out with multiple consoles, like the Genesis, the Genesis 2, the Genesis 3, where there were all these sizes and stuff like that. Right. But did you know that Sega designed a Genesis Sega CD combo into the shape of a boombox called the CSD GM1?
At first I thought you were going to say the CDX. I'm like, I've been looking for a CDX forever, but I've never heard of this thing.
in the shape of a boombox. I just sent you a picture of it to look at, and it's just the weirdest, craziest looking thing.
What is that?
Yeah, so that is the CSD GM1 that plays both Sega Genesis and Sega CD games. That was also a boombox that played cassettes.
Where do you put the Genesis?
I'm assuming
Carts.
there is a slot up top.
I thought it was that thing on the bottom, it looks like.
It could be. No, I think you may be right. At the bottom there, you have the for the cartridge,
ports.
and then the middle you have the cassette deck, and then on top you have the CD player that also played Sega CD.
That is ugly.
Yep. Needless to say, they didn't make very many. They didn't sell very many. If you should happen to find one, you are a very lucky soul. I'm sure it's worth a lot of money. But yeah, so the Sega CSD GM1, which was a Genesis Sega CD combo, and that is this week's Did You Know?
And this week in gaming! What do we got, bro?
All right, Larry. Based on that sound, I think we all know what this means.
Yes, cheat of the week. Oh, wait, no. This week in gaming.
You mean scream of the week, screech of the week?
Thanks, Josh.
Thank you, Josh. Nope. All right, we are at This Week in Gaming.
Nice.
And so we're going to jump right into it.
Let's do it.
And we're going to start in 1982 on DOS, the PC Blue Diskette version of Pac-Man.
The PC Blue Diskette version.
I don't know what that means.
Yeah, I wonder what that looks like. All right.
But regardless, Pac-Man. So 1982, DOS, Pac-Man. We're going to skip a year because nothing came out in 1983.
Fair enough.
In 1980, well, that might have been the crash year. In 1984, on the Famicom in Japan, we got Xevious.
Ooh, nice.
Excellent game.
Yep.
Moving on to 1985 on the Famicom in Japan, a game you and I both know very well, Muscle.
Yes. I keep forgetting they made that game. Actually, I just saw it on sale. I think at Chiller, but I didn't have any cash.
I remember
left.
I remember the little toys. The toys were awesome.
Yes, toys were. Remember? Did you have the belt that carried the toys with them?
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes, I did. Moving on to 1986 on the Sega Master System in Japan, a game called The Ninja. I believe it was about a ninja.
I would have guessed it was corporate finance.
Could be. In Japan, you never know.
That's true. Yeah.
Moving on to 1987 on the Sega Master System, boxed with the Sega 3D glasses.
Ooh.
Zaxxon 3D.
Wow. Okay. I forgot they have those glasses. Meanwhile, they're on display at the Retro Gaming Expo. But that's pretty sweet.
Zaxxon 3D.
Cool.
Moving on to 1988. On the Famicom in Japan, we got Touchdown Fever. I think it was about football.
Is it better than Pac-Man Fever?
No.
Which is more contagious?
I have a feeling Pac-Man Fever is. In 1989 on the Famicom in Japan, U.S. Championship V-Ball, also known as volleyball.
Okay.
Sports games all over the place.
Yeah.
Moving on to 1990 on DOS, there was a little game called the Phrase Master.
Okay. Was it like a typing tutor or something?
Probably. I don't know. Look, I didn't say there was that monumental games this week in gaming history. I'm just calling the games. Okay.
Fair enough.
Give me a break. Moving on to 1991 on the TurboGrafx CD in Japan. Now this was a great game, Prince of Persia.
Oh wow, nice.
Started that whole series way back when. Jumping on to 1992 on the Game Boy, which sold 101.6 million units according to our segment.
116 million.
I'm sorry, 116 million units. But in 1992, they came out with a little game called The Incredible Crash Dummies.
Oh, great commercial, terrible game.
Well, yeah, I think any game based on a commercial is going to give you that. Remember
it also had the cartoon. Actually, it was more...
Yeah. Remember Yo-Noid, Cool Spot Adventures?
The Noid is back. He's in the new Domino's commercials. You see a little Noid on, and they have like a weird
come on, give it up.
Rube Goldberg machine.
Good Lord. Moving on to 1993 in Japan on the Sharp X 68000.
Oh, nice.
We got a game called Rise of the Phoenix.
Okay.
I hope you got to play as the Phoenix.
I'd rather play as the Rise.
All you. Moving on to 1994 on the 3DO.
Ooh.
Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo.
Nice. Okay.
Always awesome. 1995 on the Sony PlayStation. We got Tekken.
One of the ones that really helped that system get all those units sold.
Yeah, exactly. All 100 million units. Jeez. Moving on to 1996 on Windows. Now this was a monumental game for Windows. I remember. Microsoft Flight Simulator for Windows 95.
Yes, that
remember
was
Flight
huge.
Simulator?
I do.
I had a friend in high school who played this game so incessantly because the whole point of it was you were literally in the cockpit of a plane, and you were just charting courses over the U.S. Now my friend would literally. Like he was a pilot, he would plot out these flights and he would print out all the data and all this stuff, and he would fly like coast to coast flights, and it would run in real time.
I was going to say, yeah,
like,
real time.
You would do a 6-hour flight from New York to L.A.
That is insanity.
Yeah, absolute insanity. Who would want to do a 6-hour flight?
Well,
wait, hold on. All right, moving on to 1997 on the Sony PlayStation.
2001. I know.
Moving on to Sony PlayStation in 1997, Monopoly.
Quick side note. I always loved a good Monopoly game. I had it on NES. I remember we'd play the board game for real, and then we actually translated it into the game to continue. But on a side note, you can look this up on YouTube. Monopoly just came out on the Nintendo Switch.
Yes, I saw it in the store today.
And the load time, roughly 6 minutes and 35 seconds.
To load a Monopoly game?
To load the Monopoly game from launching the game to being able to press start.
Okay. Never buying that. Moving on to 1998 on the Nintendo 64, we got NFL Quarterback Club 1999.
That was a good game. I like that game.
I actually really liked the Quarterback Club series, and I wasn't a big football fan, but it was fun. 1999 on the Sony PlayStation, another monumental series, Medal of Honor began.
Wait, which one? The first one? Just Medal of Honor?
First one.
Medal
of Honor, the first one.
Love it. Medal of Honor. That first couple, that and Underground, the first two, phenomenal.
I'll take your word for it.
Yep.
Moving on to
papers?
2000.
Oh, your papers? Yeah.
2000 on the Game Boy Color, Donkey Kong Country.
Okay, yeah, they started kind of releasing some of those like ports of the Super Nintendo games.
Yep. Moving on to 2001 on the Game Boy Advance, a game I'm sure you love, Gradius Galaxies.
Yes, I love the Gradius series.
I know you love the Gradius series, and there's just another one there. 2002 on the Microsoft Xbox, Metal Gear Solid 2 Substance.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. Yeah, they kind of re-released it. Yeah.
Yep. That was one of them. 2003, PlayStation 2 got... and this was, 12 years later? Prince of Persia, the sequel, The Sands of Time.
Okay. Probably better than the movie.
Yeah. Wasn't that Jake Gyllenhaal?
It sure was.
Oh, boy. 2004 on the GameCube, Mario Power Tennis.
Okay, I remember that. That's kind of started his sports series.
Not to be confused with the horrible tennis game on the Virtual Boy.
Moving
on to whatever that was. Moving on to 2005, also on the GameCube, Mario Party 7.
Okay.
That series just never stops. I think they're up to 10 or 11 now?
In fact, they're putting out on 3DS, they're putting out Mario Party Top 100. They're putting out the 100 top mini games.
Yes, I saw the advertisement for that in Target, and I had to stop and look at it because I'm like, ooh. But I need it on console. And finishing off the list in 2006 on the PlayStation 2, yet another game that was a monumental series, and probably arguably the best game in the series, Guitar Hero 2.
That was you know what? You're right. I would say that's probably the best one of the series.
That one had the best songs, by far. I played that game until my carpal tunnel syndrome kicked in. And that is this week in gaming.
Nice. Good stuff.
Done and done.
Good. I felt like with the week off, we're recharged. We're ready to go. We're kicking it back into high gear. We're kicking it in the butt.
Sure. If you want to play some Boonga Boonga.
Yes. I can't wait. Well, I may have to. If I'm going to Japan now, I want to go. If I go in January, maybe I'll see.
Are you going to Japan in January?
I doubt it, but they just signed Kenny Omega versus Chris Jericho at Wrestle Kingdom 12, and trust me, I'll be looking into flights.
All right, well, you look into flights and enjoy it. I have seen my share of Japan, so I'm all good.
Well, with that, we're going to start to close it up here, and we're going to remember, folks, I mean, you can listen to us. We say it every week, but by God, it has to happen. iTunes, Spreaker, iHeartRadio. We're on Amazon Alexa now. So check us out, subscribe. Yeah. We're everywhere. Me and Ant, this is the flagship show. I don't care what any of the other hosts say on the More of the Same Network. This is the flagship show of the More of the Same Network.
It better be.
You can check us
out.
You can check us out every Tuesday. Of course, the Yin and the Yang, myself and Anthony Chu every Thursday. The Better Half podcast, which with myself and Frank Messina every other Wednesday. So not this Wednesday, but next Wednesday. And just subscribe to all of them. Just search your whatever you use to listen to podcasts, YouTube. Just search the show, search the Retro Gamers. You'll find us. And, of course, our website, theretrogamers.com. We're on Instagram at _RetroGamers. And, of course, Facebook.com/RetroGamersPodcast. And all 600-plus fans of our show, the likes, the follows. We appreciate each and every one of you. And I just want to say one more. Well, Ant, do you have anything coming up before I close?
No, I don't have anything coming up, but I do have to say one really, really awesome thing, and it's to Rich and Trish, who were on our show on the Retro Gamers a couple of times. Yeah. Yep, at Barcade. But I need to just give them a shout out and a super congratulations because they just completed the New York City Marathon.
Oh wow! All right.
Yep. So congratulations, you guys. I know that was a bucket list thing for those two. I'm really sorry that I couldn't be there to do it with them. And albeit looking at the times that they finished it in, it would have been a lot slower than both of them. But congratulations, Rich and Trish, for killing it. Yep.
Nice.
You run that rain or shine. But congratulations to the two of you guys. You are awesome.
Yeah, next time you're in New York, you're in the city, remember, you take the D train from one side to the other. It's very easy. Take the Q. You don't have to do all that running.
No, you can do the running.
No, honestly, very good stuff on them. Congratulations. Ant, you had your walk that you did. Looked like you did really good with that as well.
Yes, I did the what you call it, the Out of the Darkness walk for suicide prevention, which was excellent. They actually raised over $100,000
nice.
At the event.
Very good.
Yeah, there were about 2,000 walkers.
Good.
Which was really, really cool.
Walkers.
And it was obviously for a great cause, not those walkers.
Oh, okay.
But it was for a wonderful cause, and it was great to be out there.
Good, excellent. I've done nothing the last couple weeks except buy stuff, so that's what I'm doing. But coming up, we're gonna have some great stuff here on all shows on the More of the Same Network. And I want to say this because it's gonna go. I saw it, Victims and Villains. I know we were off last week, so you made it a point to drop 2 episodes last week. Trust me. We're coming for you now. Now it's on.
It may be time to declare war.
The Pod Brothership is in jeopardy. Victims and Villains, PS Midnight Cast. Look out, brothers. We're coming for you. Even though we're still going to be gaming. Oh, man, am I streaming this week? I think I am.
Yeah, it's your turn.
Streaming? Oh, boy, almost forgot. All right, every Wednesday, check it out around 9-ish Eastern Standard Time. I don't know what I'm playing, but we're playing games that we're thankful for, so I got to figure out what I'm thankful for.
Yeah, I'm not thankful for anything, so I guess I have to find something.
And with that, everyone, thank you for listening, and I'll catch you next week.
As always.
And everyone, see ya.